Jupiter sextiles Chiron, Saturn stations direct, Pluto moves into Aquarius for good, and we get a ton of Sagittarius energy. The astrology of November is bound to bring changes all geared towards healing, growth, and with a dash of fun and adventure. Welcome back to the Hella Fluid Collective podcast, where astrology meets small business. I give both month ahead and week ahead horoscopes so that you can tap into the energy that's available. At the end of each transit, I give a little blurb of how a business owner could use this energy. So it's geared towards business owners, but a majority of it is applicable for everybody. There's a summary of all of the transits in the description below, so don't worry about taking notes as to which day each transit is happening. If you want to plan ahead with all of the transits, then make sure you head over and sign up for my newsletter or head to my blog, where I have a little section at the bottom called Supportive, Spicy, and Dynamic Days. It has all the transits of the month in those little categories, so you can look up the supportive days, the days that have really lovely transits, the spicy days, which are the days that have more harsh, tension-filled transits, and then dynamic days, which are days that have a little bit of both. Just kind of helps you plan your month and just to be aware of your energy and other people's energies. Also, every week I post the week ahead in a graphic or a 90-second video over on my TikTok and Instagram. So if you want a little quick hitter on that, head over to those pages. And every day I share the transits of the day to my story. So if you want to just keep on top of things, just follow me and you'll know about all the good astrology information. In this month ahead forecast, I give the main transits, especially anytime a planet is moving into a new sign or any outer planet transits. It does not cover all of the transits. So like I said, if you want all the transits, make sure you go follow me on Instagram or check out the week ahead forecast on my YouTube page as well. This is the collective astrology, so it's astrology happening for everybody. However, anything happening in your personal chart is always going to precede what's happening collectively, like basically how the planets above are hitting the placements in your birth chart. So if you want to dive deeper into that, make sure you book a personal astrology reading with me, which you can find in the description below as well. As we are getting to the end of the year, it would be a great time to book a year ahead reading with me, so that you can figure out what 2025 has in store for you. Last little information plug, because that's what I have to do, is if you want this delivered to your inbox on a monthly basis, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter so you can get this in a blog format as well if you want to follow along with writing. I also give other practical astrology advice and how to tap into the energies. I only send 2 emails a month, I promise. All right, let's get into the astrology of November. The month starts off strong with a really powerful new moon in Scorpio. This happens on November 1st. Now, Scorpio is already intense, so there's a lot of intensity around this moon, and let me explain why. We start off with it being in Scorpio. Scorpio is the most intense sign anyways, and intensity doesn't have to be negative. Like, passion is really intense, right? So it's just about like bigness, big feelings, right? Scorpio is also a water sign which rules emotions. So that's the first layer of intensity. On top of that, Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars, and in modern astrology, it's ruled by Pluto. And in this new moon chart, we have Mars opposite Pluto. Now, it's exact a couple days after this new moon, but it's still a part of the chart. So it's kind of a big deal. And to top it off, both of these planets are in the 29th degree of each sign. So Mars is in the 29th degree of Cancer, and Pluto is in the 29th degree of Capricorn. Now, the 29th degree is a point of culmination. So it's all of the lessons that we've learned through the planet transiting that sign coming together for this moment of one final test almost. If you've been learning your lessons and paying attention, then it's just going to be more of a point of mastery, if you will, to say, yes, I got it. However, if there's still some things that you need to learn before moving on, it may come to what feels like somewhat of a crisis dramatic, I know. So just look out for any reoccurring things that have come up in the past few months, and if they come up here, really be intentional with them so you don't have to keep learning these lessons. Now, outside of it being in the 29th degree, Mars opposite to Pluto is a rather intense transit. I'm going to talk about it more in just a little bit on the day that it's exact, but just know that it can bring some sense of feeling triggered or defensive, or like survival needs are at threat. So people may be acting kind of a bit on edge. This new moon is also supported by a grand water trine. It's not exact, but it's just a few degrees apart. And again, some of those planets are in the 29th degree. So another point of culmination, but a more harmonious one. So we have Neptune in Pluto, Mars in Cancer, and Mercury in Scorpio. So with all of these water signs being activated, it gives this blanket of emotional and spiritual support. So whatever the Mars opposite Pluto transit brings up, there's going to be a lot of space for growing in a sustainable way. And with this, it kind of softens the Mars energy that is feeding into Pluto. And on top of that as well, too, Pluto is forming sextiles, which is a harmonious conversation with Neptune in Pisces and Mercury in Scorpio. Again, it kind of softens the blow a little bit on this more harsh, triggering transit. So bringing it all together, it may bring up the situation where it feels like a crisis, but we have the support to make it through and learn our lessons in a sustainable way. Very Scorpio transformation, here we go. As for business owners, I would absolutely use this energy to reflect on any patterns and approaches that you're ready to let go of, especially obviously in your business. How can you show up more authentically? How can you start building a deeper connection with your business and the things you need to do in your business, rather than just doing them because you think you have to, building that really deep relationship with your why. On November 2nd, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Sagittarius, where it will be until January 2nd. Yes, that's a long time. That is because we are going to get our last Mercury retrograde of 2024, all in the sign of Sagittarius. First, let's just talk about Mercury and Sag. Very fun energy. I mean, Sagittarius, I feel like it's a fan favorite. It's all about adventure, exploration, trips, travel, learning, higher education, philosophy, spirituality. And Mercury is all about the mind, our communication, our learning processes. So we're probably going to be having really positive, optimistic perspectives. And if not, it's an opportunity to expand those mental horizons. What I would say about Mercury and Sagittarius, the shadow side of it can be more like maybe we're being a bit too bold in the way that we're communicating. And sometimes that can lead to over-exaggerating. You know, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, super big. So we might be over-exaggerating, or we might be a little tactless in the way that we're delivering some information to people. So just be mindful about how you're speaking and be mindful about how other people are speaking, and maybe don't take it so personally. We'll get into the Mercury retrograde part a little bit later in this horoscope when it comes up in the timeline. As for business owners, I would use the Mercury and Sagittarius energy to have fun with your marketing. Marketing is ruled by Mercury, and this is just a fun time to explore and try new things. Explore new avenues, explore new ways of showing up, and it's also a really good time for educational content. People are ready to learn, people are ready to get a deeper understanding of things. So whether that means you taking a course and expanding your knowledge, or if you had ever thought about releasing a course or a workshop or a class, now is a really good energy to do that. On that same day, November 2nd, we get Jupiter sextile to Chiron. Yes, this is an outer planet transit, so that means we're going to be feeling it for a while. You've probably already been feeling it. We're going to be feeling it about a week or two before November 2nd, and then a week or two after November 2nd. So it's definitely going to flavor about half of November and the latter half of October. This transit is all about healing and growth. It's a super harmonious transit. Jupiter is super optimistic. And Chiron is all about healing. It is about, those wounds that we kind of carry with us. However, it's also about compassion and working through them. So anywhere where you might have felt stuck in terms of cycling over the same kind of pattern, this is a really helpful transit to move past it with hope and generosity and excitement. As for business owners, you can use this energy to heal any uncomfortable truths that you may have learned this year. There's a big energy towards creating more aligned day-to-day actions and foundations for your business. So any hard truths that you've just had to accept, this would be a good time to face them and move forward. Like, I don't know, maybe you're not where you thought you were, which sucks. I get that. I've been through that this year too. But now would be a really good time to kind of, address that, rip the Band-Aid off, grieve, and then move forward. Look at where you're at right now and appreciate everything you've had to do to get there, to get here. And then after we've appreciated this moment, consider where you can go from here. All right, here we go. Mars opposite to Pluto. This is exact on November 3rd, and it's kind of a bummer. I would actually say it's more aggressive. So both of these planets are known for violence, which is not good news. That's not something that I want to hear right now. And like I mentioned before, Pluto is about survival skills, and it's being activated by Mars, which is in Cancer, which is all about taking action out of our emotions. So I feel like people are going to be acting out. They're going to be acting from raw emotions. They're going to be acting from a place of feeling at threat, which isn't exciting. Whether you are doing this or people around you are doing this, it's just something to be really, really aware of. Mars is sitting uncomfortably in Cancer because it doesn't like to be in Cancer. And this is all about taking action based on our emotional instincts, right? And that's sitting opposite to Pluto in Capricorn, which is all about transforming the systems that structure society. So together, these two are doing this push-pull dance between our personal emotional needs and the pressures that come aside of us, like societal pressures, external pressures, things from our parents, things from our friends, things from our career. So it's really going to bring up those power struggles, whether it's between individuals or these concepts of what we think we should be doing. It's not going to be comfortable. However, like I mentioned, it's going to bring up stuff that needs to be dealt with. If we're going to be creating better things as we move into more Aquarius energy, then out with the old. I'm sorry. I do think it'll be interesting to see how this transit impacts the election. I think whatever happens is going to be necessary for us to address and move forward. As for business owners, I would use this energy to continue the growth of moving towards aligning your business with you. So instead of doing the things that you think you should be doing or trying this hack, doing this, just block those out for just a little bit and see what you really want to do. Because I feel like there's some magic that happens when you bring your full self into your business. That's what makes it your special sauce, right? So it's really about using this energy to tap into that. And maybe something's going to come up in a harsh way that will give you the opportunity to look at it. Growth is growth. How can you bring your intuition and your personality and your personal experiences into your business? Coming back in a different outfit because I almost forgot to mention this. On November 3rd, we get Mars moving into the sign of Leo, where our desires, our actions, our motivation all get flavored with confidence, creativity, self-expression, and play. It's a highly energized and passionate force that seeks recognition and is ready to take charge. We're talking about fearless self-expression. We're talking about lots of confidence in what makes you you. With Mars in Cancer, we may have really been letting our emotions dictate our actions. And with Mars in Leo, it's really about our creativity, our play. It's a desire to show off our individuality. And again, it's also bringing a lot of confidence into our decision making. Now, it does add a little bit of competitiveness and ego-driven action, which may not be a great energy for the election results, depending on how they go. Leo definitely taps into leadership roles, and with Mars making that opposition to Pluto right before it moves into Leo, it's carrying with it some power struggles. So I think that might bring an interesting flavor to reactions, unfortunately. Now, Mars stations retrograde on December 6th. So it's already in its retro shade, which means the path that it's going on right now, as it's still moving forward, it's going to retrace when it's going backwards, and then retrace a third time when it's moving forward. So this is a little cycle that we're starting now, and we're going to be, this energy is going to come back around in spring of 2025. So pay attention to what happens now and how it cycles around and might come back again in the spring. Then on November 11th, we get Venus moving into the sign of Capricorn, where it will stay until December 5th. This is an energy that shifts our values, our finances, and our relationships towards practicality, ambition, status, and tradition. The relationships that we're forming, whether it be romantic, with ourselves, a friendship, and even with concepts like our relationship to money, our relationship to work, they're going to be getting a lot more serious. If they're not aligned with your long-term goals, we just simply might not be interested at this time. Right now, we're interested in things that are worth committing to. It might be a less affectionate placement for Venus. However, that depends on your definition of affection. It's not like lovey-dovey, like when it's in Taurus, it's all happy and sensual. If commitment is sexy to you, then it's a sexy month. Regardless, it's going to be grounded in reality. For business owners, this is a fantastic energy to get grounded with your finances. Whether it's looking at the numbers, talking to an advisor, getting ready for tax season, getting ahead of the game since we're coming to the end of the year, getting things all straightened out. It's all about building strong and secure foundations. Then on November 15th, we have a full moon in Taurus. This is perfect for what I just mentioned about finances as well, because Taurus rules money, material goods, stability, comfort, and luxury. And a full moon is all about releasing what's not working. There's a point of celebration as well too. But really, it's about releasing for the new cycle. So this full moon is all about releasing what no longer serves us around money and material goods and comfort. Now, this full moon is only 1 degree away from Uranus, which means it's conjunct. And Uranus is in Taurus, okay? So that means it's also forming an opposition to the sun. So this full moon is asking us to really let go and reflect on those money mindsets, those money values. It could bring up some unexpected change or sudden changes that have us rethink things and give us an opportunity to progress forward. Now, Uranus has been in Taurus since I think 2018 or something like that. So this is not necessarily a new energy, but it's going to get activated with this full moon. Again, another transit that's asking us to redefine our relationship with money and comfort. I do want to mention Uranus rules the nervous system, and with the full moon, it's full emotions. So I would do what you can to stay extra grounded this day. Do some somatics, do some meditation, do something to keep your nervous system nice and calm in case we get activated. As for business owners, this is a really good time to let go of things that just simply don't make you feel comfortable anymore, especially if you're just doing it for the money. I understand a need for money, and if you need to do it for money, cool. But maybe just use this opportunity to investigate. Do I actually need to do this for the money? Or do I want to do it because I just want all this money? Is there a chance that you have a little less money while you figure out what's next? Create a little space for something that's more aligned for you. If you need to do it, then do it. No judgment. It's just about the opportunity to ask yourself those questions. Also, just asking ourselves, what is comfort? Could you redefine what comfort means for you a little bit? Could you be comfortable with a little bit less? On November 15th, we get Saturn stationing direct. This gives us some forward movement towards things like our responsibilities, our discipline, and our long-term goals. Saturn retrogrades for about 4 to 5 months every year, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's always nice when a planet is moving forward. When it's retrograde, I feel like we're focusing on the responsibilities that we put on ourselves internally. And when it's moving forward, I feel like we're ready to bring that energy outwards towards others and things outside of ourselves. We become a bit more hardworking towards those other things. Retrograde, maybe we're working a bit more on ourselves. This can also release a little bit of inner turmoil that we might have been feeling over the past couple of months, especially in regards to not being enough in whatever that may be. Saturn is restrictive, and so it can have us in kind of this downer, I'm not good enough vibe especially when it's retrograde. As for business owners, when it's direct, use this energy to create things in your business. I mean, again, it's direct for most of the year. It's direct until June 2025, which puts us all the way through spring and summer. So it's just a nice time to focus on creating new things. All right, the talk of the town. On November 19th, we have Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius for good. Pluto entered Aquarius at the top of the year. It stayed there until about mid-June. So think back to what January through mid-June felt like for you, what changed, what shifted. And that was just kind of like a little sample tester of what we're going to get for the next 20 years. Yes, Pluto is going to stay in Aquarius until 2044. Pluto takes about 20 years to move through a sign, which means it's about 250 years for it to go through all of the zodiac signs. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolution, we had the French Revolution, and we had the Haitian Revolution, which was a very important revolution because it marked the first Black Republic. So it's a really big deal for Black history. And I'm Haitian. I'm very proud to be Haitian. I love that side of my ancestry. Anyways, do I think there's going to be a huge revolution like that? Well, to be honest, I think we're already in one. While these revolutions that I just mentioned were violent as hell, I don't necessarily think that and hope that we're not going to get to that point of the oppressed having to gain power back through being that violent. I mean, we are already seeing that like we are in Palestine. However, I feel like more of the violence is coming from the oppressor, so that's a little bit different. But the story underlining it is violence, oppression, and power. However, I would like to think that for America, we wouldn't have to resort to that because there's just so much awareness around the breakdown of these systems that have been upholding society, especially since 2008, which is when Pluto first moved into Capricorn. We've been learning a lot about our government since then. So with Pluto in Capricorn, Capricorn is very much about power. It's very much about the systems that hold the power over us. Aquarius is focused on how we can bring our individuality into the collective, which I think is a really big part that society has been missing. It's about coming together as humans in a progressive way. Pluto in Aquarius has us investigating our relationship with technology, potentially using it as a way to actually advance all of us together rather than to gain power. That's more Capricorn. There's going to be a plethora of information out on the interwebs about Pluto in Aquarius. There already has been. So if you want to dive deeper into this, I encourage you to look up some resources. I may or may not do a deep dive. I don't know. We got plenty of time. As for business owners, listen, honey, this is a long transit. So I'm not going to tell you what you should do because it's going to be a 20-year should do, right? So what I suggest is, like I've mentioned before, look into redefining your relationship with your business, right? When we get Pluto moving signs, it's a big deal. So things are a-changing. So should your business strategies if they're not working for you. You know, like for example, People don't want your cold emails anymore. I'm sorry. I had to learn this hard truth this year too. I just don't really think people are interested in the emails. So, what's a way that you can show up that feels more authentic to you? Are you a naturally good networker? Are you a content creator? Are you just really well connected? Whatever that thing is that you're naturally good at, or at least interested in, maybe you're not good at it yet, but you have an interest for it. Just try it out and see if it works for you a little bit better. There's no one size fits all anymore. Find what aligns with you, even if it's quirky, and do it. It's what makes your business unique. On November 21st, we have the sun moving into the sign of Sagittarius, where it will stay until December 21st. Again, Sag is a fan favorite. It's all about adventure. It's all about exploration, fun, boldness. This is a time where we may not want to be tied down. So build a little flexibility into your schedule. Build some time for play and flow. Things related to optimism, philosophy, spirituality, travel all get a boost of energy. As for business owners, see what you can do to add a bit more fun and play into your day-to-day. Let go of your routine a little bit. Try working out of someplace new. Heck, go on a trip that you could classify as a business trip, even if it's a stretch, and see what you can pick up. See what you can get inspired for this next chapter. It's also a really good time to take a course, launch a course, take a workshop, launch a workshop, all things learning. Fun little side note, Sagittarius rules publishing, comedy, tourism, so if that's your industry, now is your time to shine. Then, on November 25th, we have Mercury stationing retrograde, where it will be retrograde until December 15th. It's going to be in Sagittarius for the duration of its retrograde, which means it's going to have us turning inwards and reflecting anything that might be blocking our perspectives from expanding. It also could have us looking inwards to expand our own mindsets about ourselves. So on its way into the retrograde, while it's in the retrograde and on its way back out of the retrograde, it's going to hit three main transits. One of them is opposition to Jupiter, which is actually kind of fun. It's not like your typical opposition. It could have us thinking really broadly and maybe missing the little details. It could have us being a little overly optimistic, maybe committing to too much. Then we also get a square to Saturn, which is not so fun and could bring some downer thoughts and restrictive thinking about not feeling good enough, not being good enough, those kind of spirally thoughts. And then it's also going to connect with in a sextile to Venus, which is super harmonious, super fun, lovely thoughts, lovely conversations. So those are the themes of the Mercury retrograde. We're going to hit all those three times. So it's going to be a little cycle. It's going to be a little theme. As for business owners, because it's in Sagittarius, just be mindful of the retrograde. We always say check things a million times. Don't sign contracts. Sagittarius may have us feeling really excited and just want to try new things. But the retrograde isn't necessarily a time to try new things. So it's more about returning to things that we have started maybe another time, but maybe with a fresh perspective. That sounds all right. I would definitely use this energy to return to things in a playful manner, especially if they're more non-consequential and you can just play and they're not going to completely screw you over if it doesn't work out. The last transit we're going to talk about today is on November 30th, and that's a new moon in Sagittarius. Again, this is happening during the Mercury retrograde, so I just tell you to be mindful, but it is going to urge us to start a new cycle regarding adventure, travel, philosophy, spirituality, and gaining a deeper understanding. The time to grow is now. If you want to deepen your spirituality or understanding of this life, now would be a really good time to do that. Or if you wanted to start planning that trip that you just know is going to change your life, now would be a really good time to start doing that. I don't know about taking it during a Mercury retrograde, that's up to you. But if you want to start planning it, I think now is a good time. Mercury trine to Chiron is also a part of this new moon, so there's going to be opportunity for healing conversations. We're going to be a lot more compassionate and understanding. You could just have that breakthrough conversation with somebody where you finally see eye to eye. Venus also forms a trine to Uranus for this new moon, and they're both in earth signs, which brings some groundedness to this new moon as well. It could bring a fun, welcomed, beautiful surprise, especially in regards to our relationships or finances. As for business owners, I would set some new goals around expanding your knowledge. All right, that's it for November. What a month. I think it's going to be fun. I hope you guys have a lovely November. If you're traveling, be safe. Wear a mask on the plane. It helps minimize the spread of this disease. Whether it impacts you heavily or not, it's going to impact other people heavily. So wear a mask on the plane. Don't get your family sick. Don't get yourself sick. Don't get others sick. I love you guys so much, and I will see you for the week ahead astrology forecast. Until next time, stay hella fluid, y'all.